The key to a rock solid marketing plan is to tell a story with actions that build off of each other. And the first one of those building blocks is going to be your objectives. Having objectives that are too broad, not relevant, or improperly targeted can cause your marketing plan to fall apart before you even get started. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how you can build smarter objectives and then how you can start matching some common strategies to these objectives to give your marketing plans the best chance of success. Let's dive in. Alright guys, we have made it into another lesson in this section that's all about building marketing plans for your business. This is going to be a very important lesson because we're going to dive into strategies today and learning exactly how you can use some of these digital marketing tactics to hit your campaign goals. I don't want you to fast forward through this lesson today because there's going to be a lot of examples that build upon each other and we use the same examples in all of the sections. So stick with me, and by the end of this lesson, you'll know exactly how to build objectives that are going to really work for your campaigns and what kind of strategies you can use to hit those objectives. In this lesson, we'll go over a couple of things. We'll start off learning about SMART objectives and learning how to build objectives that have the best potential to reach your goals. Then we'll learn about strategies in order to hit those objectives. And then we'll talk about KPIs and learning how to select and track data to monitor your campaign performance. Now, before we get too deep into the lesson, let's start off with a basic understanding about some of the things that we'll talk about. What are business objectives? And broadly, business objectives are the specific and measurable results a company hopes to maintain or achieve as our organization grows. And now that's a very broad definition, and as we go through this lesson, you'll learn how that relates specifically to digital marketing and some of our campaign goals. So jumping right into objectives, we'll talk about making SMART objectives. And you can see that SMART is probably an acronym with all those dots in there, and we'll get to what all those letters mean. But this lesson is going to be about figuring out how to take some broad objectives and make them more targeted and more obtainable for you and your customers. Now, when it comes to objectives, there are many different kinds of objectives you can use in your marketing campaigns. These include things like broad marketing objectives, channel objectives, campaign objectives, and tactic objectives. Correctly identifying what kind of objective you're targeting is going to be the first step in having a successful campaign. Now, when it comes to objectives and narrowing them down, having objectives that are too broad and undefined can leave way too much room for uncertainty. I've said this in a couple of our lessons before. Setting the wrong kind of objective can make it impossible to correctly track performance and optimize the future. A lot of you guys have been wondering, what does a SMART stand for? So here it is. The S is for specific. You want to make sure that your objectives are defined and detailed. The M is for measurable. You want to make sure that you include numbers and quantitative measurements in all of your goals. Don't just say, I want a lot of followers. I need 5,000 followers. I need 10,000 followers. You want to make sure that your goals are objective. Your business should have a fair chance of reaching your goals. You don't want to say something like, we want to get a 90% email open rate, even though the industry standard is 30%. You're setting yourself up to fail with that campaign. You want to make sure that your goals are always relevant. You don't want to say something like, I want to be number one on LinkedIn so that way I can sell my products on Instagram live shopping. It just doesn't make sense. And you want to make sure that your goals are time bound. You want to include dates and or time frames. That way you have something to measure and track your data off of. Now let's go back through all of our different types of objectives and see if we can make some broad objectives a little bit more smart. Our first example is going to be a broad objective. And an example of this is a new shoe company who wants people to know more about their sneaker drop. They might come and say that their campaign goal is just to get more followers, but we can see that this does not follow our SMART guideline. Now, if we wanted to take this objective and make it a little more smart, we may try something like this. We want to have a total of 7,000 engagements on social media posts announcing the shoes the week of the launch. You can see that this is specific, it's measurable with 7,000 engagements, it's obtainable, it's something that we can really do, It's relevant to our overall goal of letting people know about our shoe launch. If people are engaging with our posts, they definitely know what we're talking about. And it's time bound. We want this to happen the week of the launch. This is a lot more easier for us to target than saying we want to just get more followers. An example of a channel objective inside of a marketing campaign might look something like this. A local toy store wants more traffic from search. The channel here would be search. More likely it would be Google. And so they might have a goal that might look something like this. I want to get more web traffic. We can see again that does not follow our SMART guidelines. If we wanted to make this a more SMART objective, we could try something like this. The company wants to increase the click-through rate of organic Google traffic to 5% by Black Friday. We can see this is very specific. It's saying what channel they want to use. It's measurable with the 5%. It's obtainable. That's actually within a guideline that they could reach. It's relevant to their overall goal of getting more traffic. And it's time bound. They want to do this by Black Friday. Campaign objectives are some of the most widely used objectives inside of marketing plans. And a great example of that is an e-commerce brand is trying to get more sales. They may set a goal that is very broad that says they just want to grow their monthly sales. Well, that's way too broad, and we want to make that a little more smart, so we may try something like this. They want to grow their total monthly sales by 20% by the end of the first quarter. You can see this is very specific to their goal. It's measurable by 20%. It's obtainable, that's within a good reach of growth. It's relevant to their overall goal, and it's time bound by saying they want to hit it by the end of the first quarter. Here's our last example, and this is going to be a tactic example. And although tactic examples are less used in marketing plans, they're usually hidden inside of some of your other examples. Here's what one might look like. A blog wants more people to read their email newsletter. They might set a goal of getting more people to open their emails. Maybe they send their blogs out in an email. They want you to click the email and then go and read their blog. Well, that's just way too broad for us to be able to really have a marketing plan built around it. We may try something like this. The blog wants to achieve a monthly email open rate of 25%. We can see that that is specific. It's measurable with the 25%. It's obtainable. It's actually lower than the industry average, and it's relevant to their overall goal. And it's time-bound, monthly average. So it's a reoccurring time-bound goal. Okay, so now that we've had a little bit of a crash course on how we can narrow down some of our broad objectives, let's take a step back and talk about channels and figure out what part do a brand's channels play in your overall marketing plan. You might have seen that we have only one channel objective in there, but all of the objectives actually included a lot of your channels. So let's take a deep dive and see how they play a mix into making our marketing plans. When it comes to digital marketing, your brand will use a mix of 3 different kinds of channels. They're going to be owned, earned, and paid. Let's take a look at what each of those things mean in detail. Owned channels are going to be channels that are owned and controlled by the business. They're going to include things like your website, your email, your text, and your apps. Not social media apps, like if your brand has your owned app. That would be an owned channel. You own it, no one else controls it. You decide everything that happens on and off that platform. Next, it's going to be earned channels. These are channels that are not owned by the business and the business does not pay to operate them. They include things like your brand social media. And even though the word earned is in the channel, I want you to remember that earned channels are free, unlike paid channels. And these are channels that are also not owned by the brand. However, the business pays to be on them. They include things like the Google ads, any other PPC you may be using, and your brand's paid social media. You can see that a couple of these things are on both earned and paid. And I want you to remember, it's not the channel that decides whether it's earned or paid, but your action. If you're running an ad on social media, that is a paid channel. If you're posting or your organic social media, that is an earned channel. Same thing could be for Google. Organic SEO is going to be an earned channel, while Google ads and display PPC are going to be paid channels, even though they're both coming from the same place. When it comes to your digital channels, it's going to be very important for a brand to have a broad mix of channels that work together to hit an objective or a goal. This is how you start really building integrated or omni-channel strategies. You don't ever want to just say, I want to stay on my earn channel or my paid channel or anything like that. Your Instagram should work with your email. It should work with your website. Your referral system should drive people to book now, and then it should drive people to the email. Everything should kind of be building upon each other to create one cohesive brand. That's how you hit your campaign goals. It's going to be very hard to hit a goal on one channel with one tactic. But if you start integrating all of these things together, you're going to find that your campaigns explode. And how exactly do we do that? Well, let's go back to our earlier examples and see if we can put some strategies to our SMART objectives that are going to target our goals and get us some results. Now, I'm going to give you guys my winning formula for making strategies for your marketing campaigns. The first thing you want to do is include an action. What is the brand going to do? Then you want to include your target audience. These people are going to drive your campaign, so never just leave them out. You also want to include your digital channel mix. What channels are we going to be using in what way in order to reach our goals? And then you want to include your creative. How are we going to do it? Is it a video? Is it a blog? Is it an email? You always want to make sure that your creative aligns with all the things in your campaign. Now that we've nailed that down, let's think back to our examples and see if we can make some good marketing strategies from our SMART objectives we built in the first part of its lesson. If you remember our BART objective, we had a shoe company who wanted more people to know about their sneaker drop, and we said that we wanted to have a total of 7,000 engagements the week of the shoes launching. What are some of the strategies we can think of to hit this goal? One of the options that I came up with is that we can post every day on Instagram feed with a different color option for the shoes. Then we can go back and we can boost all of those posts with an engagement objective ad. You can see here that I included the action. We're going to be posting every day, and then we're going to be boosting. I included the target audience, which is our Instagram followers. I included a digital channel mix. We're going to use an earned channel, which is going to be our organic post, and we're going to use a paid channel, which is going to be our paid post. And I included the creative. We're going to be posting different color shoes every day. And if you think about it, this might help us get those 7,000 engagements that we're looking for. If we think about our channel objective, we remember that a local toy store wanted to get more traffic from their search, and that we were thinking about increasing the click-through rate of their organic Google traffic by 5% by Black Friday. Now, there's a few different ways that we can hit this goal, but one that I came up with is publishing best of style list articles on the brand's website that features items offered at the store. Best of style articles rank really well on Google. Best places to shop, best places in your city, best tacos, best t-shirts, best brand. Those are some of the best articles that you can write, and they rank really well. And you can see in here, I included an action. We're going to be publishing things. I included the target audience, which is a couple of people who already read our blog and searchers on Google. Our digital channel mix is going to include our earned channels, which are going to be our website and organic Google SEO. And I included the creative. It's going to be a blog that we're going to write. And you can think about it, if I publish this article, we might be getting more clicks from Google because we're going to be having more people interested in what we're posting. If we think back to our campaign objective, you'll remember that we had an e-commerce brand who wanted to get more sales, and we helped them develop a goal that said that they wanted to get 20% more sales by the end of the first quarter. Now, there's a lot of ways that brands can increase their monthly revenue. They can add new products, they can run ads, they can do a lot of different things. But here's an easy one that a lot of brands, especially e-commerce brands, may be missing out on. This brand could send emails to customers who abandon their cart, and they can offer them a discount on the items in their cart. Recovering abandoned carts can be an easy and automated way to increase revenue for your business without adding new products or doing anything that you're not already doing. Those things work really well, especially if you include a discount. Hey, you left this in your cart, here's 20% for you to check out right now. And you can see in the strategy, I included an action. We're going to be sending emails. The target audience is going to be customers who abandon their cart. The digital channel mix is going to be an email with a coupon attached to it. And also that's going to be our creative, the email and the coupon. Taking a look at our last example, which was a tactic example, we remember that we had a blog who wanted to increase their monthly email open rate to about 25%. One way that we could do that is that the brand could run a giveaway where users must get a clue from a word that is in the email newsletter. I've used this a lot of times. You can give people more points or additional entry by including a secret word that's at the bottom or somewhere in your email. Although these people may be just opening your email to get the secret word, if your content is engaging enough, they may realize, hey, there's good stuff in these emails and I should even open them after the giveaway is over. You can see I included an action in here. We're going to be running a giveaway. We're also going to be including the secret word inside of our emails. Those are both actions. I included our audience in here, which is going to be people who are entering our giveaway, but also maybe people who haven't opened our emails in a long time. The digital channel mix here is going to be whatever we're running our giveaway on, which may be social media or our website, but also our email channel. And our creative is going to be the email newsletter. And you can see this would definitely get us a higher email open rate, but in order to still make sure this is aligned to our overall objective, we want to make sure that those emails don't just include a secret word, but have engaging content that makes people want to also click and go back and read your blog. Having fancy strategies, tactics, and objectives is amazing, but you don't know what you don't know. And if you're not properly monitoring and tracking some of the data in your campaign, you won't be able to know if your campaigns are working or not. And that's where KPIs come in handy. KPIs, or key performance indicators, are quantifiable measures used to evaluate marketing campaign performance. They are a valuable resource in making decisions and validating the return on your marketing spend. Diving further, KPIs are metrics used to measure progress towards your campaign goal. When digitally marketing, there are a bunch of them that you can use, but here are some of the most common ones that I use for a lot of campaigns and a lot of SMART objectives. Things like the average order value, the conversion rate, the email open rate, the traffic to your website or even to your social media profile, and your repeat customer rate. All of those things can greatly tell you how well your campaigns are working. We're going to go back to our examples and we're going to add a couple of KPIs to each of the plans that we have to make them a little bit more full of a marketing plan. And you can see as we move through the lesson, we're adding more and more things to build out a complete and rounded marketing plan for all of our brand examples. Thinking back to our first example, you remember we have a shoe company. They want more people to know about their sneakers. We figured out that we want to have them get 7,000 engagements across social media, and we're going to do that by posting every day and then boosting the post. Some of the things that we should be paying attention to in this campaign are the total number of engagements. That is our main strategy here. So we want to make sure that everything we're doing is increasing those engagements. Secondary KPI I would like to pay attention to is the total number of sales at the end of this campaign. We're not trying to get engagements just to get engagements. Our thinking is getting more engagements will lead to more sales. So I want to make sure I track the sales from this campaign as well to make sure that getting engagements does equal sales. And that way in the future, I can know I want to get more engagements for more sales, or hey, we got all these engagements and we didn't get more sales. So if we want to get more sales in the future, we need to target something else other than engagements. If we think back to our channel objective where the toy store wanted to get more traffic from search, we wanted to get them 5% by Black Friday, and we wanted to post those best of list articles on their website, some of the things that we could be paying attention to is our Google click-through rate. That's our main objective here, is to get more clicks. So we want to make sure we monitor how much traffic is coming from Google and if we're really going to hit that 5%. The secondary KPI that I would track on this campaign is the time on page. I want to make sure that people are actually reading these articles. They're not just clicking them. If they're reading the articles, then they're having a better chance of actually going through, seeing the products that we offer, and then making a purchase. However, if they click on the article and they spend only 5 seconds on it, then I know the article is not really capturing their attention, and we may need to try a different strategy to get them more engaged and to get them to click more. Time on page is a really important KPI that can tell you how engaged someone is once they reach your website. Thinking back to our broad campaign objective, we had that e-commerce company who wanted to get more sales, and we were hoping that they can get 20% more sales by the end of the first quarter by just recovering some of their abandoned carts. This one's a little bit tricky, but the first thing that I would pay attention to is the total sales, not what's going on in the email. Remember, we're trying to boost monthly sales by 20%, and we're hoping to do that by email. But if the sales aren't going up, it doesn't matter what's happening in the emails. We can get 1,000,000% open rate in the emails, but if they're not converting, then that's not going to hit our overall goal. So we want to track the sales first. And then secondly, I do want to track the abandoned cart conversion rate. How are those emails working? Are they really converting more people? That'll let me know if I need to send the emails at a different time, or maybe try a bigger coupon or something else like that. But I do want to know what's going on with the conversion on the abandoned carts. But more importantly, I want to make sure I track the sales in this campaign. In our last example, we had that blog that wanted more people to read their email newsletter. We wanted to try to achieve a 25% open rate, and we were hoping to do that by running a giveaway with a secret word embedded somewhere in our email. The first thing that I want to track is people opening those emails. Remember, we're trying to get a better open rate on our emails and hoping that that leads people to click and read our blogs. So the first thing I want to do is see, is this strategy working? Is putting a secret word inside of my emails really leading more people to open the emails and read them? And then I want to track and see, does that equal more people clicking on our emails and reading the blogs that we offer? Wow, just like that, we made it through another lesson. And yes, I did not include a class activity in this lesson because this whole lesson was a class activity if we think about it. But before we get out of here, I want you to remember that we went over a lot of different things today. We went over how to build SMART objectives and how to take some of your broad objectives and narrow them down. We learned about marketing strategy and some of the components that you need to put inside of every strategy that you build. And then we learned about KPIs and what things you should be paying attention to monitor the success of your campaign. And by now, you know exactly what I'm about to say, which is I hope that you learned something. I hope that you had fun. And I hope I see you for the next lesson, which is going to be about putting all of this stuff together. And I'm going to show you guys a couple of examples of some real life marketing plans that I've made for myself and my clients. So I'll see you there.